Hello everyone. Welcome to the Blockchain News Club. We have a major update on the XRP lawsuit settlement. As the Ripple vs. SEC litigation continues, the community awaits the outcome with anticipation, hoping that Ripple will ultimately prevail. If that occurs, many expect a significant price increase in XRP. It is worth noting that the United States regulator sued the blockchain company for illegally selling over $1.3 billion worth of XRP tokens. According to the SEC, the tokens were securities during the sale between 2013 and December 2020. The SEC claimed that XRP is a security. In general, a security is a traded financial instrument representing ownership in a corporation or similar entity but has no utility. For instance, shares are commonly defined as securities by publicly listed firms in order to obtain finance. Since XRP tokens were used to fund Ripple's platform, which facilitates money transfers for retailers, a civil action was filed at the end of December 2020. The sales of XRP also enriched the platform's management. However, it is essential to note that as per the SEC, Bitcoin is not a security. The United States SEC vs. Howey test was a landmark Supreme Court case in 1946, which aids in determining whether a transaction falls within the Securities Act of 1933's definition of an investment contract. According to the Howey test, the investor's control over the profit is a critical factor in determining whether or not an investment contract is a security. It is usually considered a security if the investors have no influence over the asset. So, did XRP comply with the requirements of the Howey test? According to the SEC requirements, securities must be registered with the SEC and some financial information must be publicly reported. The purpose is to protect investors' interests while combating fraud. The SEC determined that XRP satisfied the Howey test requirements. Instead of going to trial, the SEC settles most of its lawsuits. Individual crypto companies submit to the SEC's demands and pay penalties in order to be released. Unlike many others, Ripple went all the way and engaged in a legal brawl. Ripple lawyers claimed that the SEC never warned nor gave any notice to the organization. The U.S. regulator also accepted that Ripple wasn't notified that XRP could be classified as a security. As a result, Ripple believed the SEC was biased in applying the security concept to virtual currencies like XRP. If this is found to be true, the Commission's authority will be weakened, not to mention the credibility of its argument. At the moment, both parties have filed their final submissions, hinting that the conclusion date might be near. While frauds and bankruptcies are experienced on one side, legal processes come to the fore on the other. Ripple, which has been struggling in court for a long time, has also been on the agenda recently. So what is happening on the Ripple side? How will the XRP litigation between Ripple and SEC turn out? Not long ago, popular crypto investor Ben Armstrong, nicknamed Bitboy, said that Ripple will triumph in the XRP lawsuit. Bitboy isn't the only one who thinks Ripple will win the case. Many analysts and commentators think that this year will be Ripple's year. Attorney John Deaton, amicus curiae, dropped a Twitter poll for the users to see what they think about the result of the XRP lawsuit. Around 60% of the voters believe that it is going to be a settlement. However, XRP lawyer doesn't believe the same. Deaton stated that a year ago he believed that a settlement was likely as the US SEC wasn't surrendering its assertion over the Hinman speech drafts and emails. However, the Commission gave up its claim and submitted the docs to Ripple and defendants. Now, the XRP lawyer believes that the XRP lawsuit will get a decision from Judge Analisa Torres. Is Hinman docs the key? In the attorney's opinion, if these emails were very valuable to Ripple and could damage the SEC, then the Commission would have settled before turning over them. However, that didn't happen, and now Ripple is citing the Hinman emails in its opposition briefs. The SEC has even asked the judge to seal the Hinman doc, and it is now up to judge to decide whether these emails and docs would become judicial documents. The judge can order the SEC to file these memos to be filed on the public docket with some redactions. According to Deaton, a settlement could happen for any reason other than the Hinman emails. In earlier tweets, Deaton has said the only other reason for Gensler to settle is to avoid a ruling setting a bad precedent for the SEC as it goes against other tokens. But, to be honest, I just don't think he's too worried about it. There's been a push for the CFTC to oversee crypto, so Gensler may roll the dice. He further added that in sum, unfortunately, I think a settlement with Ripple is not in Gensler's mindset. I don't believe he's going to settle and publicly agree that ongoing and future XRP sales, including in the secondary market, are non-securities. And Ripple won't settle unless the SEC so agrees. We know that SEC settles most of the case without going to trial. This is going to be an interesting month for Ripple Labs and the XRP community. What do you think? Will the lawsuit be settled or will it go to verdict? Please comment below. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe for regular updates in the blockchain community.